Welcome, superfluous third nipples, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we are A, making up for lost time, and B, returning to the field folio of one Mr. 007 James Bond. So last week I was sick and had no voice to do any of this, so we took the week off.
He just barely made it through his play. So
I legitimately Saturday. It was actually Saturday, first scene, second act. I started talking, and I'm like, no, not now, not now. I got a show and a half to get through. Made it, and then everything went to hell. So we are going to be treating with two separate episodes tonight. So we are going to start. As we talk about our first of the Roger Moore Bond movies with The Man with the Golden Gun. And then after we record this, we're going to just take a couple minutes to set up, and then we'll be back to talk about another Roger Moore film, Moonraker. Yeah. So this is what more could you ask for on this lovely Wednesday? I am not happy with that. Show myself out.
I see what you did.
So just as a refresher, if you've been following us throughout the Bond movie, so we actually took a little break in April to talk about the Disney stuff. So what Mike and I were doing with this is we've taken every Bond and we've picked our favorite of that Bond and our least favorite of this Bond. As a recap, we covered with Sean Connery. We covered Goldfinger is my favorite. Thunderball is Mike's, and we both did not care for Diamonds Are Forever as our least favorite Connery movie. There was only one George Lazenby movie, which was on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Which you liked.
I liked more than I liked it the first time. So
yeah, and I was pretty much the same. It's like, it happened.
Yeah. So we are going on to what is considered our generation's Bond, Roger Moore. Who
I disagree with that.
Well, you're only 6 years younger than me. So, I mean, technically.
Well, yeah, but I'm going with the first Bond that I actually saw in theaters. So.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess you could do that. I mean, the first Bond I saw in theaters was Roger Moore, but it was A View to a Kill. So now this is the weird thing about Roger Moore movies, and I'll kind of state my case here because throughout tonight's reviews, we're covering my favorite Roger Moore and my least favorite Roger Moore. Normally we would trade off, so it would be my favorite, Mike's favorite, and then my least favorite and Mike's least favorite. But because of the way that they lined up, we're doing these chronologically. So next week and the week after will be Mike's favorite and least favorite of the Roger Moore movies.
Yeah.
And we decided to skip Live and Let Die because it's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Nothing really spectacular about it. And your generation's Bond really is fancy. My generation's Bond was grizzled and fancy. Are we? Please tell me we are talking about Daniel Craig. I mean, you're young enough that could very well be your Bond.
Grizzled and fancy. That sounds almost like Timothy Dalton.
But Kurt wasn't alive during the Timothy Dalton era.
Because Pierce Brosnan wasn't all that grizzled.
No, he wasn't at all. And I'll kind of state a lot of my thoughts. Really? Grizzled?
He wasn't grizzled.
I don't see that. In fact, all right, so I'll come back to this when we do talk about the Brosnan movies. Because we'll have a full 4 to talk about with that one.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Pierce Brosnan knocked it out of the park in the first movie, and then everything else moving forward became more and more the reason why Bond was becoming an outdated character.
Yeah.
And why he needed to be brought back into reality with Daniel Craig. So
actually we may not do all 4 Brosnan. Because I think we both agree on the best, and then the worst.
I think I do want. There is one I want to talk about as my favorite, only as kind of like the other, the also ran. but that's weeks away, so we're not even going to deal with that.
Yeah,
so let's talk about my favorite Roger Moore James Bond movie, which is 1974's The Man with the Golden Gun. I ran a poll on Twitter yesterday asking which was worse, this or Moonraker. 53% said that this was the worst movie. But I think, Mike, But Mike, here's the thing, and I think you brought it up. The thing with the Roger Moore Bond movies is that there is a fine line between silly and stupid.
Yeah.
This rests on silly. Because, I mean, for the most part, I could have easily have been that guy who picked The Spy Who Loved Me as, it was the best Roger Moore movie, because it is widely considered to be the best Roger Moore movie, but it's dull. It's long. It's just kind of dull. The thing I like about The Man with the Golden Gun is that it's got a lot of goofiness to it. And trust me, there is a lot of goofiness to this movie, which I can understand if you are one of those part of that 53% that did not care for it, or thought it was worse than Moonraker. But I feel like Christopher Lee Scaramanga is such a great villain. He really is a great villain. Third nipple aside.
There's really no point to that. Absolutely none.
Yeah. I enjoy the movie a lot. It's got that cool 70s Bond aesthetic that I really like. Yeah. It also is the last movie, which is really sad, seeing it's the second Bond movie, where Roger Moore doesn't look like a senior citizen.
Fair.
Yeah. He is older. He doesn't carry himself the way that Connery did at that age.
Right.
But there's just something about this movie that the locales are fun. The gadgets aren't crazy.
Yeah, they're I mean, as far as crazy gadget go, Moore has a lot of really crazy gadgets. This one, they're not that crazy.
Right.
I'm trying to remember what they are, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't remember many. I know that there had to have been a few, because you did get Q in there at some point.
Yeah. We spoiler, we both watched this one last week, and we both watched Moonraker last night. So that's a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be getting into all that. I'm sorry, I just got to pull up.
I got it right here.
I'm just pulling up IMDb right quick with the Man with the Golden Gun, just so I have all the character names and stuff. What I like this movie because there's a lot of moving parts in this movie. I also think too that Hervé Villechaise's Knick-Knack he's a fun hench person that is given a little thing extra than just being the silent muscle.
Yeah.
Think about all the great sidekicks up to this point in Bond movies. Odd Job doesn't say anything. I mean, hell, I don't even think Rosa Klebb says anything.
Jaws didn't say anything.
No, Jaws did not say anything.
Yet.
But with Hervé Villechaize, that's another episode. The thing with Knick-Knack was that they start him off at the very beginning that if he can find somebody who can kill Scaramanga, he gets everything.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool character motivation because Scaramanga is in on it. Yeah. It's not this whole thing where Knick-Knack is always trying to kill his boss. It's a designated thing that they do.
Yeah.
He just knows
it gives him some actually character development that you don't usually see in the sidekicks.
Exactly. Now, of course, when he hires somebody, he got somebody from Goons R Us, the guy in the zoot suit who does, he's got to pay his respects to the obvious mannequin of a that was rough.
the obvious mannequin who looks a lot like it's actually Roger Moore standing in there.
Who would have even thought to put the mole on there? That's the...
Wow, and that looks a lot like Roger Moore. I wonder if that's going to come into play later in the movie.
Not possible. It's not possible. It can never come into play. But again, this movie has got inherent silliness, which is still part of its charm. Let's be honest. That gun doesn't look like it should shoot anything. Scaramanga's, golden gun.
If it were actually made out of gold, that thing would explode with the first shot.
Right, exactly. And not to mention the fact that the bullets... But you know what, though? They do a good job of kind of describing how he got the gun. It's not just this thing that was just kind of like... It's just, Tom Mankiewicz and the screenwriting people just thought it was a great idea to do that and not give it any backstory. We got a little bit of a backstory on there for a guy who makes guns for special situations. The guy who lost his, he mentioned he's making that rifle for the guy who lost like 2 of his fingers. So the butt squeezes to shoot it.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. And I felt like, the way that they had Bond just kind of threaten him and shake him down was actually reasonably badass. And you don't see a lot of that in the Roger Moore movies. There's very little time when Roger Moore doesn't look bored, or just like he's in on the joke, like he's visibly in on the joke. But I thought.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, can we just say how gorgeous Maud Adams is?
Oh my gosh, she is stunning. She's absolutely stunning. And I love too that whole tete-a-tete thing with them. It was well done. I mean, Bond is nothing less than a gentleman for actually bringing out 2 champagne glasses.
Yeah. Beating her.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that also happened too. I think before he served her champagne, she got a front. She got the 003. Yeah.
And then they ditched her for by far the dumbest MI6 agent they could possibly find. There's no way she made it through all the MI6 tests without knee pads. All right, that's the only way she got her job.
Seriously, yeah. She is. No, first of all, the weird thing about her, and I never quite got the character. Like Bond is like just annoyed. The second she shows up, he is just audibly annoyed by her.
Yeah. Very good night.
It's not really until like she shows. It's like I never saw you as a woman until I saw you in this bikini that Scaramanga is making you wear, Britt Eklund. It's weird too because they were still at the point I think when they were still doing like American ADR for certain actors with thick accents, and it was kind of weird that Britt Eklund didn't get that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I'm not fine with the fact that she turned the Doomsday weapon on with her ass.
Yeah. That was the thing. Honestly, I mean, the whole movie, I was like, yeah, it's kind of silly, but if the movie had just been like this kind of like game of cat and mouse between Scaramanga and Bond, I would have liked it a lot more than I did. They had to throw in that weird subplot about a solar laser and like
the solar laser that is being according to them the Red Chinese because 70s. Seriously, I would have been totally happy if it ended. I mean, yeah, I like the stuff. I like the action with Nick Nack at the end of the movie because I thought it was a nice little coda to the end of the thing. But it could have easily ended with Bond killing Scaramanga. Sorry, spoilers for the 48-year-old movie. And then, he and
Goodnight.
Goodnight, named solely for that one line.
Yeah.
Because Christmas does only come once a year.
Again, same reason. Which one is worse?
Oh God. It's I kind of want to do a poll. What is the worst Bond girl name?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Holly Goodnight would even win in that because it's almost like I don't even think it's the name. It's the fact that like it's the reasoning for it tied into one of the last lines in the movie. I mean, Pussy Galore is just like I'm Pussy Galore, almost for dreaming. You know, it wasn't. Well, of course you are. It's so much more than that.
Pussy Galore. Yes.
Pushy.
Yes.
Yes. I yeah, it's funny. So here's something I love about this movie, and I was mentioning to you when we were when I was watching it last week. I was texting you. It was like, first of all, Hong Kong Felix Leiter, whose name I can't remember, was I was amazed he made it out of that movie alive.
Yeah.
And I was happy too. I liked him, and if this movie was made now, he would have gotten his own series by this point.
Lieutenant Hip.
Huh? Hip.
Lieutenant Hip.
Lieutenant Hip. Yeah, he was. I liked him a lot. I love the action where they had to set up like that temporary MI5 base on or MI6 base on the sunken ship, and everything is at an angle. I thought that was really cool.
You know what? I even liked when like Hip was like rescuing him from that like martial arts place, and then his two nieces came out.
Yes,
like, that's actually kind of cool.
I like that. Yeah, no, he was an absolute joy to watch. This is also the first one of these movies where it's not icky. The representation of Asian people in a Bond movie, this might be the first time where it's not like it. No, don't get me wrong. There are occasions when it gets super icky, especially when they can't tell the difference between Chinese and Japanese, as evidenced by the fact that they're in Hong Kong and they're sumo wrestlers.
May I just say 2 words here? Sheriff Pepper.
Oh fuck. Yeah. All right. So Sheriff Pepper, who was a holdover from this is, and this is the weird thing about these movies that these odd, like, they're not even supporting characters, they're like passive supporting characters. The Moore series is really the only one that did this. With recurring characters. Yeah, Sheriff TJ Pepper. It was such a weird, like, it didn't need to be there. Now, this movie runs 2 hours and I think 19 minutes, and they could have easily cut all that TJ Pepper stuff, because it's just like, Moore is just trying to, like, let his stunt driver do the driving, and Pepper's just, yeah, boy, let's do this. Gotta get the chop bump in there.
He single-handedly completely filled up their quotient of racism in that one.
The pointy heads. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Clifton.
Yeah, James, we're wearing pointy heads.
Southern. Yeah, exactly. First of all, what is he doing in Hong Kong? Secondly, what's he doing looking at cars in Hong Kong? Which is the whole reason why he's in the car. And then that goddamn slide whistle. The stunt itself was cool. The corkscrew, making the jump and making the car an AMC dart, by the way, not known for its power or control or anything.
Yeah, the real unbelievable thing in this one wasn't like the solar laser or the golden gun. It was the fact that they could make an AMC car do anything.
Yeah. But the corkscrew was cool. Did not need the slide whistle included with it. Again, This is a thing of the Moore era. We are going to talk about this going forward, that there will be a Tarzan yell in it. There's a lot. Shit, there's one movie we're not even going to talk about where they throw in like a really bad cover of Beach Boys' California Girls. A View to a Kill. Her cars can do corkscrews. Not a real guarantee.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can touch it all you want. Just don't cry on and don't let it get rained on, because rain will take the finish right off. Oh, Gil, you said too much. So let me get back to something I really loved about this movie. And this is on my list now of things. If I have a time machine, where do I go? What do I do? Early 70s Hong Kong, baby. That place looked like it was the balls to go to. Absolute balls. I want to go there.
Yeah.
And not just because, there was a club called the Bottoms Up where, I get get served by drinks by a topless Asian woman. That is the cherry on top of that cake.
Yeah.
But I remember there was this, I remember I was 2 years old when this movie came out, but it was still like that thing throughout, research, just all my knowledge of pop culture, that early to mid 70s Hong Kong there was infatuation with it. And it looked so cool because it was like they finally opened to the West. And it was really, really a cool place. And just to be an American tourist would have been amazing there, especially, with 70s money and 70s drugs. I'd totally be down on that. But
and
yeah.
70s colors.
Get a joke, but it's gonna wait to the next movie. Remind me. All in all, I've been doing a lot of talking about this movie. I genuinely, this movie is silly, and I feel like I out of all the movies that we're going to talk about throughout this entire Bond series, it's the one I feel like I have to defend the most in terms of where it stands in my list, because it could either be on either list for most people. You love The Man with the Golden Gun, or you dislike The Man with the Golden Gun. And I just feel like if we're going to get more being silly, they did the right type of silly here.
Yeah, for me, I think if you had cast anyone else but Christopher Lee as Scaramanga, I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah.
Hervé Villachez worked, Maud Adams worked. I think those three enough, they work so well that I think they kind of push this into like, okay. I'll watch it again.
I agree with you. This movie is built on its casting.
Yeah.
The story in and of itself, outside of some of the detours that they took, as we mentioned already, is a solid story. And I would have loved to see this, essentially just this international dick measuring contest as opposed to yet another doomsday device.
Yeah, if they had left out the whole thing with the Solodex and the solar laser and all that.
Give me that number out of my Solodex.
Yeah, it would have been a much better movie for me. But, the whole like cat and mouse between Scaramanga and Bond, it worked enough for me that I can overlook the solar laser.
I will say, though, that its most iconic scene is also one of its silliest looking. When they're actually back to back and they've got their guns raised. So first of all, Scaramanga's got his badass gold gun. Bond his freaking puny little Walther PP. But they're both they're really in character at that moment. In like the worst kind of way, where they both, Christopher Lee is just like, I have an actor now.
And again, I wonder if that mannequin of Bond is going to come into play somehow.
Oh, if only I noticed the two fingers I shot off of it 2 hours ago.
No. I didn't notice. He actually had his fingers down like this.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he hit his fingers.
I was nursing 100-degree temperature, that like a 101 temperature while I was watching this. So
understandable.
I'm going to excuse myself if I didn't notice that this time. I will say that it was nice to watch it on a larger screen, because the last time I watched this movie, also under a medical thing, it was weird. Like I had to stay at my mother's house because I had to take a radiation pill for a thyroid thing, and Autumn was pregnant. I could not share a space with her for 2 days, so I had to stay at my mother's house. So I had my portable DVD player, which I tried watching these movies on the portable DVD. That's done.
Yeah, those screens like this big.
Not only is it that big, they're terrible. They skip, they pause. if I have to watch in my office, I'm going to hook up my laptop. I have a DVD player on my laptop. I totally forgot I had one because nobody has those anymore. But yeah, all in all, this is a fine movie. And in terms of what I liked about the Roger Moore movies, unfortunately, yours is going to come close. Yours is going to come damn close. It might even be like right on par with it. You don't get much better, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's really only 2, maybe 3 slightly higher gems. Most of them are just so silly they're stupid.
And that's kind of the thing when you're rating the Moore movies. You've got the 2 stalwarts, which are dull. And that's the thing with like The Spy Who Loved Me. It's long and it's dull. Yeah. And unfortunately, the movie that followed it kind of undoes all of it because they tell the same story, just in space. But that is another discussion for a time not too far from now. It's like Bond villain that played by someone who actual spy credit. That's very true. And I think Christopher Lee is also the only actor who ever hung out with
Ian Fleming.
Thank you, Ian Fleming.
Yeah. He hung out with Ian Fleming. He hung out with J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh, Jesus. I
hung out with around, man. He got around.
Yep. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on The Man with the Golden Gun?
Nah.
All right. Cool. Because we get a lot more to talk about the next movie. So,
yes, we do.
All right. Well, we want to know, what are your thoughts on The Man with the Golden Gun? Leave a polite comment below. Where does this rank? Is this on the good list or the naughty list for you in terms of Bond movies, especially the Roger Moore stuff?
I mean, to be fair, on a Roger Moore list, it's the naughty list.
The naughty list. Well, no, that's not that's not a Roger Moore thing. Honestly, the only line of Roger Moore I can do is, "Oh, look, a lady," because that's pretty much how every action scene essentially is diverted. Just I'd love to go defuse that nuclear bomb right now. Look, a lady.
Good night.
Oh God. Say good night. Good night. Stop it. So anyway, folks, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast from. It's Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You name it, we're there. Also, follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Twitter at Geek Salad Podcast. Also, check out our TeePublic store, keyword Geek Salad Podcast, for all your nerdly needs. Thank you so much for watching this. We will return. Geek Salad will return a lot faster than you thought. So if you are interested in seeing what my least favorite movie was, which if I haven't made it abundantly clear right now, hang tight. We're going to start a new live feed in just a few minutes. So stay on the channel. Yep.
I actually thought of one thing we haven't mentioned yet.
What?
The Man with the Golden Gun.
Oh my God. How did we forget about Lulu's song? All right. So first of all, you don't even need to watch the movie. Just listen to Lulu's song. It tells you everything you need to know about this entire movie.
70s pop has no business being anywhere near a Bond movie.
Fuzzy Guitar has no business being in a Bond movie, considering Fuzzy Guitar is such a late 60s thing and a movie that came out in 1974. Honestly, though, I got a soft spot for the song, too. This movie is just like nothing but like, I have to apologize for my love for all of this.
For this song, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, Lulu is such a flash in the pan type of, she is about, think about Aha and how Aha did The Living Daylights. Lulu was about as famous as Aha at that moment. Lulu did do To Surf with Love. So
Lulu was also in an episode of Monty Python's Flying Circus.
That's true, she was. And was constantly mentioned on Absolutely Fabulous.
I actually never watched it. Absolutely Fabulous.
Okay, 90s British comedy.
Yeah,
We did a lot. Suncoast. So anyway, yeah, if you haven't heard the song, I mean, every music service has their own all the Bond themes. Give it a listen. I'd love to know what you think of it.
Not for me.
Yeah, I know. But it's just so groovy. And like literally is a groovy song.
Yeah, what part of Roger Moore is groovy?
Nothing. Which we will get into in just a few minutes. So if you are interested, if you want to see what my least favorite is, again, if I haven't already made it abundantly clear, hang tight for a few minutes. Stay on the channel. We will be back in about 2 or 3 minutes once Mike gets the feed set up. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share the video if you're not doing so already. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that stuff. And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. Do pay attention, but 007.
Good night.
See you in a little bit. Good night.